not getting James White involved in the run like we could with Dion Lewis is kind of probably an issue too. But I mean, the run game isn't very good, and the offensive line isn't very good either, I don't think, right now. So.
Yeah, and I think going forward, that's going to be the problem when you start talking about a playoff run for this team. If this offensive line cannot establish a dominance at the line of scrimmage, then this is going to get more difficult. It's certainly not going to get easier just based on the fact that you're going to be playing good teams on a weekly basis every week. So their weakness is going to get exposed, and maybe it already has been exposed, and they've got to find a way to fix it.
All right, well, one of the things I do want to talk about is the defense. And I think they were really put in a bad situation. And I think the Patriots offense really squandered a good performance by the defense, and it was really lost on the outcome. And it's about as much as you could have hoped for. They held Sam Bradford 14 of 24, throwing for 120 yards, which on any other day, that would be like he didn't really even play, because those 120 yards is like nothing. But Darren Sproles and Jordan Matthews each had 34 and 36 yards respectively. On the ground, they allowed 128 rushing yards, but Philadelphia is really held to short carries, and they also had 6 tackles for a loss. And really, Sunday's game was just lost on special teams like we talked about. The blocked punt return and the offensive, the 99-yard interception return. That's 21 of the 35 points that the Eagles had. The return of Jamie Collins, he led the team with 8 tackles, including a pass defense, and that was really huge. And hopefully Dante Hightower will be back as well. The Patriots D-line looks really solid, and who would have thought that without a defensive line, without Vince Wilfork, it would just look really formidable. And Jabal Sheard, like we've talked about on previous shows, just another strong performance by him. 3 tackles, including 1 for a loss. Malcolm Brown had a good afternoon as well. Alan Brandt, Silver Salinga, hopefully everybody here will be healthy so they can continue to head into the playoffs with a healthy defense. So, because I really like this defense, and they just really, the offense and the special teams just really ruined a pretty good performance by the defense. What did you guys think about it?
I think getting Jamie Collins back was a key. We still don't know what the illness was, but the fact that he's back on the field and was back contributing is great news for Patriot fans. And as you say, getting Dante Hightower back will also be a big key for them to be as possible full strength as they can possibly be. I think is something that's going to be a necessity again because of the teams you're going to end up playing once you get to January. I also think the other part of this is, we're forgetting the second straw that stirs the drink offensively, and not having that tight end around a certain number 87, I think is becoming a bit more of a key than maybe people give it credit for. I do think that he plays a much bigger role in how that offense operates, how smooth it operates, and how dangerous it can be. And when he's not out there, it's a lot easier for defenses to pick apart what's left of that offensive group to handle.
Yeah, the defense is definitely not to blame for this loss. Obviously, it was definitely Brady's bad pass that got intercepted for 99 yards, and then the terrible play on special teams. Defensively, this team played good. I mean, when they had the opportunity, when you're scoring points on a special team, your defense doesn't really get many chances to make plays. So that's really the story of the game is our special teams, and Brady made a couple bad decisions in this game too that definitely need to be noted. So
to make Josh's point, the Patriots only gave up 248 total yards to the Eagle offense.
Yeah.
58 plays is all the Eagles ran. Time of possession, the Eagles only had the ball for 25 minutes and 44 seconds. So to make Josh's point, we're not talking about defensive inabilities here at all. They were the strength of that team and the strength of that game for the Patriots. The special teams mistakes did come back to haunt them. There's no question about it, along with the interceptions. You're talking about 21 non-offensive points that the Eagles were able to score that maybe they shouldn't have.
Yep. And, John, you referenced one missing number 87, and that's the next thing I want to talk about as we move away from this game, because I want to move as far away from this game as possible. But let's talk about Gronk. And the fact of the matter is, I know Kyle Nash from the Student of the Game, he's been banging this drum. I listen to his show every week, and he says that Brady isn't the MVP, but Gronk is. But you can definitely see his presence is missed in this offense. And with that said, I want to know what you guys think about the I'm putting in some air quotes, controversy about him and the Patriots coming out with his family and the Patriots coming out with this joint statement. I think we read it a couple weeks ago or last week when it came out. But what do you guys think about it? Do you guys think that he probably won't be playing this week against Houston? So do you guys think that the next game or the next available game that if he's available, do you think he should play, or do you believe that he should be saved and put in bubble wrap and locked in a cage and until the playoffs come around.
I think he needs to play whenever he's available because New England's in a hunt for a top 2 seed. That for New England is pretty important, if you ask me. So I don't think they can spare not having him on the field if he's healthy.
I agree with Josh that they've got to get him back on the field because this team needs the bye week. They need to be a first or second seed and to only have to potentially play 2 games to get to a Super Bowl, and for that matter, even 1 on the road. So I think it's very important that Gronk gets back on the field as quickly as he can. Now, he probably doesn't play against Houston on Sunday night, and that's going to be a problem. But if he can come back against Tennessee and play at least the final 3 games of the season, that's a good thing for this team because at the moment, they really can't afford to rest people because they put themselves in a situation where they now need wins.
Yep. Wow. I guess I disagree with the both of you because I believe that Gronk should take his sweet time to come and play whenever he feels like it because we've been through this 2 times already or 3 times already with Gronk as far as injuries are concerned. And I don't like the term injury prone, but if you could put it on anybody, it could be him, fairly or unfairly, but however the case may be, I believe that Gronk is the piece that you need to have a Super Bowl run. And I truly believe that the Patriots can win wherever they play because once he's on the field and once Edelman's on the field.
Here's the problem with that theory. If you let Gronk take his time and he doesn't play, and I don't think he'll play Sunday night. So let's say he doesn't play against Tennessee. He doesn't play against Miami. He doesn't play against the Jets. So now you become potentially you'd become a 3rd seed, which means you've got to play wild card weekend. And even though that would be a home game against either Pittsburgh or the Jets or whoever it ends up to be the 5th seed in the AFC, now you've got to play an extra week. And I do think for the Patriots, and based on their injuries and based on the depth of being exposed the way it's been, the idea of them having to play an extra week to get to Santa Clara, I don't think it works.
Yeah, I agree with John completely on this. I think having that week off for the playoff run is more important to New England than taking a chance that Gronkowski might get hurt, might not get hurt. You can't think like that. I don't believe you should because he's the best player on our team. Other than this debatable, you can say Brady too, but we need him on the field if he's healthy. We need him.
All right. Well, I just say that I don't think we have a lot of years left to go with Gronk. He's my age. He's 26. I mean, he's still young. He still has his good years left, but I just don't want to see them wasted. But we can move on from this.
I'll say this, Shaq. He may be 26 years old, but he probably has a body. He may be 26 years of age, but he may have a body that's as old as I am at the moment.
Yeah. And John, we don't know. You could probably put out a little beer, right? Like Gronk does.
Well, that may be true, but I think my knees are better than his at the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah. That goes without saying, especially with those braces that he wears and the arm braces. But
yes. Fortunately, I don't have to wear those things, which I'm hoping will stay that way for the rest of my life.
Yeah, we hope that would be great. I know those things are really heavy to wear, especially when on hot days when you're trying to focus and walking and can't focus on those. But there's another type of quote-unquote controversy going on out there on social media and in news media out there. And it happened during the Philadelphia Eagles game. And this show is definitely not a political show by any means. There's this thing going on about Bill Belichick, and there were a lot of screenshots taken. And this is the bad part about social media. It's such a great source of information, but it's also the worst when it comes to distributing the wrong information. And I don't know if you guys have heard about this, but I know you guys saw the game, so obviously you saw when he had the words with the female official Sarah Thomas on Sunday regarding the issue that he had with how an Eagles player was trying to bring down one of his players during the loss. And Belichick goes up to Thomas and begins talking to her about it during the conversation, and he mimicked what he was trying to explain. And his hands were above her shoulders. He never made contact, and it was clear that his main intent was to explain what he was seeing and ask her to address it. That was it. But it's just exploded thanks to, the screenshots and everything that you could take on social media. So do you guys think that this is another blown-up story, or do you think there's something to this?
It's stupid. I don't understand why it's even in the news. I don't know how it made it in the news. But he was being respectful to her as far as I could tell from the video. He didn't touch her. He was making his point clear, and I think he was treating her like he would any other official, which he should be doing. So I don't know if he should have hugged her or something, made everyone happy. I don't know what everyone expected from him.
No, I agree with Josh. This is pretty much stupid. But again, we're talking about an officiating crew that got demoted from one game to end up on theirs. So this is a crew that has had its share of rough moments during this regular season. But as far as the conversation he had with Thomas is concerned, I don't think that that's anything that was out of the ordinary. I think he was trying to make a point and trying to demonstrate the point, and that's really all there was to it. I mean, after all, she is an official, and let's face it, she's going to be out there in the firing lines just like anybody else is going to be.
Absolutely, John. I am 100% with you, and I believe he was doing it exactly as if he would if it was Ed Hockley or Walt Anderson or any other male ref. And frankly, we've talked about this ad nauseum on this show this entire season. The male refs have really effed stuff up as far as calls, and not just for Patriots games, for all NFL games. So, you know, if he was basically treating her as if she was a referee, which he is. So, you know, it's everybody's looking to be upset about everything in this, you know, PC world, but, you know, it is what it is.
Well, let's face it, that is what the Twitter world is, isn't it? I mean, you can provide the information out there, but you can also spark criticism just by putting something out there that may or may not necessarily be true, and it's going to get instant reaction, which this did, but it's instant reaction that really is pointless.
You know what I want to talk about from this game, officiating related. I don't know if you or Shaq saw on Nesson, they did a recap of the game, and they showed 8 different times in which the Eagles were false started before the play, and it was never called, and 5 of them was on Jason Peters, and Nesson slowed it down so everyone saw what they were talking about. I saw all 8 of them, and they were definitely false starts, but the officials definitely didn't call them as well. And one of the crucial plays that there was a clear false start on was the one that Bradford completed for the first down that pretty much sealed the game. We just got lucky for a fumble and recovered the ball. So.
Well, look, I mean, as I said, this crew has had their issues pretty much all year long, and I think the NFL is on notice that this is a crew that they have to be very careful about in terms of what games they assign them to, how important these games are. But unfortunately, you've hit the month of December, and with the National Football League being the parity league that it's become, all games are going to be important, so you really can't pick and choose and try and hide this crew. Unfortunately, they're going to end up with an important game of some magnitude, and they're just going to have to do their job, which unfortunately for them, it's been suggested that they really haven't been doing their jobs properly.
Yeah, and if it's a Super Bowl game where something like this happens, I can't imagine the uproar that will occur, but maybe that's what it will take for people to actually open their eyes and see that there needs to be a change as far as refs and how they're trained and how they're expected to officiate and correct these rules, because it's unbelievable what it's taking the enjoyment out of the game, frankly. And I love football. We all love football. Obviously, those of you out there listening love football and love the Patriots. But it's just hard to watch these games when with every time there's a completed pass or interception, you cross your fingers and say, "Oh, I hope that's not a flag. I hope it's not a flag." It takes the excitement out of it.
Well, let's face it, this has become somewhat of a flag-happy league, and the same can be said for punt returns. It's very rare that a punt return or a kickoff return doesn't have a flag associated with it. It's just the nature of the beast these days. I do hope that when this off-season arrives that the NFL does take a closer look at their officiating crews and a closer look at the training of these officiating crews and tries to find some way to get these people better prepared for the jobs that they're about to do.
All right, guys, so more on the news docket going. Last thing before we start talking about the Texans. Yes, Deflategate is still a thing. So after a few weeks, there was no new development. So yesterday, the NFL Players Association and Tom Brady's legal team filed a response brief in the Second Circuit, and the NFL is looking to have a federal appeals court reinstate Brady's 4-game suspension. So led by attorney Jeffrey Kessler, Brady's team was arguing that the U.S. District Court Judge Richard Berman was right when he overturned Goodell's decision to suspend Brady for the 4 games of the season following what took place on last season's AFC Championship game. And I don't know if you guys have read this. It's about 63 pages. I recommend you do, or you guys out there who are listening, I recommend you read it too. If you haven't read anything anything that has to do with this case, you must. They leave no stone unturned with this. They cite the recently discovered info that a team was punished for swapping balls in 2007. But I guess you could say there's more of what if you've read it 100 times, it's more of what you already heard. But they actually cite Tommy Curran from CSNNE from one of the articles that he wrote. But again, I just hope that people start to pay attention to this, and maybe, just maybe, if this is overturned, then maybe people will start accepting things for what they are and not making things up. But what do you guys think of this whole ordeal?
I'm so over this. I just want it to be over with, and I'm not gonna read all 63 pages of this. I know what it says. It says